Good evening. Welcome to the October 15th, 2025 Abington Finance Committee meeting. We have a decent agenda in front of us tonight. We have an update on the FY27 budget, where we stand, latest status, preparations, timeline, etc. We're going to have a brief discussion about the opioid settlement funds and procedures related to them. Liaison, I put liaison assignments, that's liaison assignments need to be distributed still. That's still on my agenda.
And are we down
Quick.
one more?
We are in
Okay,
fact down
so-
one more, so we may need to reassess some of the assignments for liaisons. And then standing business, liaison reports, correspondence, review of minutes, and then discussion of our next meeting. So we want to get right into it. I will ask our town manager and our town accountant, what's the latest? I know we pushed this meeting to today because we're going to have some additional information. There was some sort of meeting that was going to happen before.
Well,
this.
we
Department head meeting.
we did have our department head meeting, which was our official kickoff of the FY27 budget season. So the budget books, as you all know what they look like now, they're open. We've encouraged everybody to fill them in. Andrew and I have set some dates and put out a calendar to start the meetings as soon as we know who's liaison, or I think Andrew will probably post it in the OneNote anyways, and then you can all see when we're meeting with the department heads, and if you folks are their liaison, you want to sit in with us, you're welcome to do so. Beyond that, we really haven't gotten much further, and we won't until they start filling in their numbers. But as we discussed, there will be two columns. There will be the level funded column along with impact statements for that, and level services column that will eventually turn into probably the requested override column. And once we have our numbers, we'll figure out exactly what those.
What fits in each. So for those who may not have watched our last meeting or may not have been here for our last meeting, as we are expecting there to be a significant gap between funds and requests for spending this year, we are trying to break it down into possibilities and what we can do. As Scott was saying, we're going to lay out funding or the budget that is expecting the same level of funding as last year, and we're going to lay out a budget that is expecting the same level of services provided as last year.
Because we're currently working with a deficit
Yes.
of
8
million was the last, 8 million, 7 million?
7-something million, 7.7.
Those estimates are high and preliminary.
The estimates,
Yeah.
right now.
Preliminary estimates.
Yep.
For our deficit are somewhere between 7 and 8 million or closer to 7 million.
Between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
It depends on where we estimate our revenues, and we won't know that for a while.
Yep. And so people listening and people who understand, at this point in the budget process, we are almost always working with an estimated deficit. The estimated deficit is usually much smaller than
Significantly
between
smaller.
7 and 8 million. It's usually more like 1 to 2 million at this point in the process. So we are expecting this to be a difficult budget process and a difficult season. So we're starting our process early so that we can account for that and put as much time and effort into trying to make things work as best we possibly can.
Scott, what direction did you give to department heads as far as, or information did you give to them? I'm sure you told them that we're looking at that size deficit.
Yeah, they're well aware, and we've been discussing this, for years now, that it's been coming, but certainly been discussing it for quite some time, what this budget season was going to look like, so they have been told. And then, so asking them, obviously, for a level-funded budget will require them to find areas to make cuts, and those cuts in some areas will be personnel, and some will be expenses, and some areas will be both, but there will definitely be, a level funded budget will be effects. Because basically that's just saying, this is what we had last year, and that's what we have for you this year. And even that, we're not sure we can get to that number at this point. We used one-time revenue and we used free cash to get us to a point where we weren't laying people off last year. So those sources aren't necessarily, we don't know what's going to be available to us. We're not quite ready for free cash certification, so we don't really have that number yet. And again, like we said, there are some other things that'll start flushing out as we go along. So yeah, the department heads, that's the message they've been given. So they are preparing their budgets, they're preparing their impact statements, they're preparing to, meet with you guys and explain what the impacts are going to be. And then, again, the level services budget would mean, they're looking at if no expansion to the program, with the exception of the police department, really, with everybody just kind of going forth with what they have now, what is that going to cost extra to budget for that? So yeah, that's where they're at. They all understand it, and I think that they'll, they're all working hard to get the numbers in right now.
So was the override options discussed? Are they aware that the way that that override options would be put
Yep.
forward would be
There were.
more of a menu type?
Yeah, basically there'll be a override line for each one of them. So there's one there'll be a line, and I believe the order was going to be fire, police, school, DPW, town hall, the senior center was separate, and then library. So, yeah, they're all very well aware of it. We've been discussing it. We actually had discussed the different options before that one was actually fully selected, so they knew that something like that was going to be the case, and they'll continue to work together. It's a good crew. Beyond that, I mean, as far as, we are doing what we can to, generate some other revenue. We did get some good news on our liability insurance for FY27. It's likely, we had a bit of a reduction in that last year, and I think we'll see that staying level. So, hopefully, we won't see any big increases in liability. But unfortunately, health insurance is
As
probably
always,
looking at
going up
double digits again.
much higher than inflation.
Yeah. Again, we did meet with the police chief to review the police budget, because as you recall, we had a very large transfer to do at the end of the year last year. So we're sort of monitoring that. He is working to cut costs and cut overtime. We do have 7 new officers that have just come out, and they need to have their training, but once their training is complete, that significantly reduces the issues with overtime. I think we seem to be tracking good. We're going to continue to monitor the situation to make sure it continues to track as well. So we're hoping that we can keep all 7 of our new employees. And then that'll depend on the
Because we
override.
paid to train them.
Yes.
What is the expectation on when they'll complete training?
It's January, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Hoping.
What-
So yeah, beyond that, again, we're just waiting on, we'll be waiting on numbers for a while. I think that are we starting next week with the department heads, or?
The first week of November.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about the health insurance. What are we currently doing for health insurance? We've kind of bounced around a little bit. We were in like a conglomerate, then we kind of did our own thing. Where are we at right now with?
So when I got here, we were on our own. We went out to bid and looked for some, we were talking about going with Meyer or maybe Mayflower, going back to the Mayflower group. But we ended up with this group called Mass Strategic Health Group. And there's probably about 20 towns in there or so now. It continued to grow. And actually, they did better than Mayflower last year. And they did better than, we did better than Maya with them last year. We did introduce some new higher deductible plans that save the town and the employees money. So some folks have migrated to that. We hope to keep doing things to try and encourage people to do it. That's really the best that we can do right now. We're going to continue to look, at the other plans that are out there. Mayflower obviously is one of them.
Did we realize the savings when we were on our own?
No, I think we're doing better now. And obviously, we probably moved at a very good time because there was some very bad claims that we had that drove our prices up that we wouldn't have been in a great position when we were on our own. So, and that was always the fear of just being by ourselves is just, you have a few, significant claims and all of a sudden your rates have to skyrocket to cover them. So yeah, overall, I think, we've done as well as could be expected. I think last year, right at the last minute, we ended up being just under 10%, which was nice because most people were seeing 12 and 13%. And I said, and this year, right now, we're finding that we're probably, the word that we got today was, don't be surprised if it's around 11% again. And one of the big drivers of it is the GLPs, I guess. It's just, for whatever reason.
My company just stopped
Really?
supporting them for non-diabetic purposes. They just announced that this week. It's definitely a driver.
So this is what happens. I mean, again, we're working with the company to try and offer different plans that can save both, money on both sides, but it's just national, it's nationwide,
What's the cost split between employee and town?
depending on the plan, it's 70/30, 75/25. I think the higher deductible plan is obviously better. I don't think there's anything less than 70/30, is there?
Another thing to note is that any major plan design changes will change that cost sharing to be more in the employee's favor. So the town would, for employees that are on the 70/30 split, it'd be 75/25. So that would wipe out a lot of the savings that we'd otherwise realize.
And that's
Can you back up and explain that?
Right, so many of the employees are on a 70/30 cost sharing between the town on the health insurance. Some of the union contracts have a clause in there that says, if you do any big changes to these health plans, then
It shifts.
Then it shifts to 75/25.
Okay, got it.
We were trying to implement a high deductible health plan last year,
Yep.
and this is the problem that we ran into. It basically wiped out all the savings that we would have had.
What was the deductible we were trying to do?
2,000, 4,000, 2,000 was something like that.
2,000 single, 4,000 family? That's high.
That's what they call it, a high deductible plan. But it's significant.
Mine at my company is 510.
That's high.
That sounds high.
Andrew, what side of the cost share are we on the 70/30?
What do you mean?
Like, are we the 70
The
or are we
town,
the
the
30?
town is the 70.
70.
Okay,
Down
Town
to
is 70, employee is 30.
okay.
And that's mostly contractual at this point. That's, you can't just sort of say, we want to change that because it's all in,
Yeah, any change to the percentage
Yeah.
would have to be collectively bargained for
Yeah.
almost all of the town's
yeah, I
employees.
just,
Yeah, it is quite a process
yeah.
to go and make these changes. But I will say that, we brought the groups together last year and they were, they're very understanding, they get it. The 11%, when it goes up on both sides, so they're
Yeah.
paying more also. So, hopefully we can get them to switch, but I don't know.
It's a fine line too, right?
Yeah.
We're hanging on to our employees. They can
Yes.
get better benefits and better pay somewhere else.
Well, we look at the whole, when you look at a compensation package, you look at the whole package. So it's, if you're trying to compare it to other industries or an employee somewhere else, you just kind of look at what everything is all in. And yeah, some towns might have a better deal.
Well,
Other questions?
Is there a hard deadline for the budgets?
Yeah.
For-
Definitely, I don't know.
For the department heads?
I mean, obviously, I know there is a hard deadline. If we can't, yeah, but like, is there a target?
We hope to get everyone reviewed internally in November.
Okay. Oh, so by the end of November.
I
Okay.
mean, they do it, it's kind of routine for them every year, and I don't know if you got the link to the OneNote in the budget book yet. Andrew sent it to you.
I'll send that out.
It's so, you'll have access, so you'll be able to see
Okay.
what the budgets are, but basically, they're looking, it's filling in the blanks from, the line is there from last year. Look at your contractual obligations that you have to put in, your employees and stuff like that, if there's been any changes. So it's not, most of them know, and you get somebody like John Stone, it takes a lot more because he has several budgets that he has to fill in, where it'll take me like 10 minutes. It'll take, some departments are very simple and quick, and, then you look at the senior center that has like grant stuff
Might be able to do it
in there and,
in 5 minutes.
right?
But
And then by the charter, we
by
have
the
to,
charter, you have to present it to the selectmen by what date?
Right, January 15th or something like that, and then
And
you
then
guys are a week
us
late, but
a week after that.
typically everybody gets it at the same time, we start doing drafts of it, and you'll see, when the drafts come out, they'll show the deficit right off the bat, so our first draft, when we do hand it out to you, will,
Be ugly.
it'll be ugly. The last draft's probably gonna be ugly too this year, but,
Certainly uglier than prior years.
right?
Good question.
But I don't know if I sent it to everybody. I sent it to you, and I sent it to you on the MMA report. I don't know if you distributed it, or I'd be happy to distribute it. But the Mass Municipal Association recently did a deep dive into this because it's affecting, the situation's dissimilar throughout the Commonwealth. That we just, the ability to raise revenues through taxes or fees or whatever, it's just, it's stuck and it's not growing, and everything else, like you said, when you see things like the insurance and utilities and, pension, just growing at rates that are much higher than 2.5%.
Yeah.
So, it's not like anybody was surprised this was gonna happen. It was a good report that they did. It's not telling us anything that we don't really already know, but it does point quite a bit at the state that, they just have not done anything to sort of help the cities and towns make up for that revenue gaps. They have been pretty good on, some of the things. We have seen a lot of infrastructure grants and different grants, and I will say that, happy about that, but the Chapter 70 and the unrestricted government aid is just, less than 2% last year, and it just doesn't make sense. Sort of defeats the whole purpose of calling it a commonwealth.
Other towns, we're so dependent on our state aid. The towns that aren't as dependent, are you seeing that they're in the same position?
I've seen most towns around us. I mean, Duxbury tried for an override of $6 million last year. So, yeah, I mean, Hingham, Hingham actually got an override a few years ago, but they're in a area where they're either going to be looking for one again this year or next year. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on in the Dovers of the world, but certainly that's a little different. But yeah, it seems to be quite prevalent throughout the Commonwealth.
Sorry to take a step back from your question. Do we know of any towns that aren't as dependent? And is it just because of overrides, or are there towns
So,
that are not as dependent because they're doing something else?
There are towns that bring in significantly more revenue, whether it be from property tax because their property values are through the
Sure,
roof,
okay.
or from commercial and industrial because they have a very large commercial or industrial base that they
Okay.
get more money from.
Yeah, there's certainly, one of the big things that most towns are seeing also around us, and one of our big drivers is new growth. We don't have new growth. And, I had this conversation with the sewer committee, the commission, because, we have a project up on North Quincy Street that is trying to get some approvals, and they're trying to work with the city of Brockton, and we need to do an intermunicipal agreement, but it's a project similar to the size of the project over on Summer Street. Now, a project like that, just in year one, with fees and, it's just beginning to build out, is worth about $500,000. And that'll probably bring in an additional, I don't know, I think we decided maybe $300,000 or $400,000 a year in taxes after that. And it'll bring in motor vehicle excise tax because it's probably going to add 100 and something cars. And then it's going to bring in meals tax because hopefully all those people are going to be over at the local places eating and drinking.
Eating out.
So projects like that, as much as everybody gets upset about the congestion that it may cause, or the possibility of future burden on the schools, and obviously requires trips from the fire department, trips from the police department,
Yep.
whatever. But without that, we can't grow.
In the school system.
And yeah, eventually they will, but also eventually, hopefully, they'll decide to buy somebody's house and reinvest in town and stay in town and stay in the community. It's
Perhaps
how it's supposed to work.
volunteer for the finance committee. We have 2 openings.
We do have 2 openings.
Anyone who is watching and listening.
It's a subtle plug, if I've ever heard.
Not subtle at all, in any way. No subtlety.
Subtle as a gun, yeah.
No subtlety left.
I felt a little subtle, I'll give it to you. Do you know, Scott, have you heard anything yet on if the aid seems like it's gonna be up higher this year than last, or is it too early?
It's too early, but no one expects it to be up.
Okay, I didn't know if,
I mean, we'd be very surprised, only just because of the state of the Commonwealth right now is also,
They're having the same issues that we're having.
that's true.
yeah, they're doing a little
They're
better.
having their
Just may have-
expenses,
yeah.
yeah, they're having their
be
own issues,
optimistic.
but the cities and towns do not seem to be high on the priority list for the State House, and
I like to be optimistic.
it would be very pleasantly welcome if state aid came in much more robust than we were expecting.
The last few years, though, it's,
Couple of
Kind of.
percent, I mean, it was less than 2% last year and maybe 2% the year before.
1.4 or something
was-
like that
yeah,
last year. It was very,
Very
very
bad.
meager.
And, yeah, and so we don't expect, I don't think there's any great anticipation. Now, we do have our folks at the Mass Municipal Association who are up there and fighting for us, and I will say, our
Our
representative and our
representation
state
is,
senator are very good in
yeah.
helping and doing what they can. It's just, it is what it is.
What is the current status, or to the best of our knowledge, of the Student Opportunity Act and any funds related to that?
I have no idea yet.
Because that was very helpful when we got that.
Yeah, we can check in with Felicia and see. Well, that's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions? We've had a lot of good questions, led to different topics and things. Floyd?
I watched a little bit of the zoning committee meeting. I didn't get to see the outcome.
They,
What-
they did approve the
Those
two
two
variances,
schools.
yeah. So yeah, we will be able to, it'll be a lot easier to put a package out for the North School and the Center School. They will come with variances to allow up to 20 one-bedroom units. Kept them at one-bedroom units for the sake of trying to have something for entry level. They lend themselves to affordability, and they also tend to lend themselves to seniors. So hopefully,
Were the neighbors consulted?
yep, actually, they were there.
There might be one sitting next to me, so.
Yeah, I was aware of it.
Anything else?
It won't be anything right away because currently the DPW is there. And,
Yep.
Traffic would have to be redone? I feel like traffic would have to be redone.
I would suggest that 21 bedroom units will bring significantly less traffic than was
It's-
there when
it-
it was a vibrant school with 100 kids in it running around.
I think, I know.
it's just the location of it.
Yeah,
The-
there's
the-
there
the
was a
way
lot of
that-
accidents
that- yeah.
then.
Just that.
There will be an opportunity, though, before it's actually developed, that it does have to go to the planning board, and they will try and figure out better access for it, but it,
The other thing that I will say from just paying attention to stuff in town over the last several years is, especially with where the North School is located, safety around the train tracks is a big concern.
yeah, I actually, we've had a couple of meetings since our last issue with the ET, and they've actually been very responsive. I think they're actually putting out some surveillance stuff out there that they can keep an eye on the crossings and to get early warning on anybody who is trespassing out there. So they actually have been responsive. They have an open dialogue. We have another meeting coming up with them, and like the Federal Transportation Safety Bureau has been on board with it. So they are aware of it. It is, again, unfortunate, but
Yeah.
we have 7 crossings in a small area. And
Chris?
And a large mental health issue.
yeah.
You know, it's not just.
Yeah, that's the
traffic
first thing that, we all talk about at the meetings. It's, we can do whatever we want, but the root of the problem, none of us in that room discussing train safety are gonna be able to deal with it. It's a much bigger picture.
Yeah.
Speaking of that area, though, how are we doing with the construction over at the DPW fire station? How is that all?
I think we finally got the last bit of, contamination out of the ground. It just seemed, there was a lot more stuff in there than was ever anticipated. And it's not like it was, when I say it can't contaminate, it's not dangerous type of contamination. It's just dirty soils, and they all have to be treated properly. There were some hydraulic fluids in where the old DPW was. There was some asbestos pipes in there, underground that had to be cleaned out. There were things that were in the area where the new salt shed is going that over the years, and it must have gone back many, many years, people were dumping anything and everything over there. And I say it went back many, many years because it was fully overgrown with mature trees. I mean, it had to go back beyond that, so. But now things are moving along smoothly. They've eaten up quite a bit of the contingency for it.
I'm gonna say,
That was my next.
the last update that I got from the town moderator was that they've gone through most of the contingency. They're still under budget, but it's much tighter.
Yeah.
And that the cleanup was really what
And I think,
took away the contingency.
and I think there is going to be a push. They're probably going to try and seek some funds from town meeting to help offset the cost of the soil remediation. I mean, it was significantly higher, but it was something that, in fact, we're probably glad that we ended up taking the land and finding out about it, because I don't know how long it would have stayed, and not been a problem. And you do have a water source across the street, so. So yeah, it's good that we cleaned it up. I wish we had known about it ahead. We did a lot of soil borings, but never would have expected to see something underneath 30-year-old trees. But yeah, that's where we're at with that right now. Like I said, I think there'll probably be a warrant article to help supplement that just for that remediation part, but
Because you don't think that's going to be able to stay within the scope of,
it's tight, so probably, I would like to think that we'll be all right. We'll certainly have a better understanding by the time we get to town meeting, but it's making it very tight. And hopefully, again, we're not out of the ground yet. We're just dropping foundations, and,
No, I
so
know.
it's awful early to have no contingency.
but we did talk about when it first came up, that,
That the budget was tight.
that maybe they need to cut back on some things or change some things before asking people for more money.
Well, they have. They actually cut back on quite a bit of things out there. So the project is a lot smaller than it was initially.
Who cut back?
With them,
Who cut back?
they cut back on all the project.
The whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they all would have loved, we wanted more canopies for the DPW project. We wanted, I think they took out one whole bay on the fire station at some point. The equipment is the equipment. We have X
Right.
amount of equipment and we have to get it covered. We have X amount of people and we have to take care of them too. So, they looked at it over and over and over. I don't think there was anything else that we could have shrunk on this project. So again, it's not over budget. We're within, it's very tight. And you kind of don't want to be that tight when you're not out of the ground yet.
I know, just when we're now talking about overrides.
So I know. Oh, we don't want to, well, nobody wants to go back to the well, please.
Yeah,
please.
no, I understand,
When
I just,
you say cut back on it, do you mean from since it's already been like approved, or from before the budget was brought?
No, before we started construction,
Okay.
it was scope was reduced.
I just wasn't.
And it was after we got them, once we actually went through town meeting and we said, all right, well, this is what we have. Further cuts were made, or it
Okay.
really, cuts is probably a tough word. It's more just shrinking the scope and shrinking some of the buildings. Like I said, there was
Refinements.
refinements, yeah. There were canopies and large canopies that we were gonna, hoping to be able to build and put trucks underneath that, I think what we're doing within the scope of it, we were, putting the footings in, and then it'll be easy for us to deal with that later as a capital project in the future and things
Okay,
like
that's
that.
what I wasn't sure if it was after it went to town meeting.
This is slightly on and slightly off topic, but right before coming here, I noticed an article about them still working to get water to the Union Point project. And there's a semblance of a plan, and there's some money for the Joint Waterworks to do a study.
Yeah, the developer's actually been helping and very helpful in some ways with helping us find ways to get water. Obviously, there are different ways that you can look for leaks and plug holes, or upgrade wells to pump more capacity. We have DEP, and obviously, Crystal could explain it a lot perfectly, as opposed to me kind of just.
Yes.
But DEP says you can extract so much water, period, and the wells can only do so much. So I think somewhere there's what the well can do and what DEP says we can do. There's a bit more capacity there, and it's just figuring out how to do it. Or I know that they're working on rehabilitating an old well or something like that, or putting in a new well. So there are different ways that they're looking to try and get water. And then if they, I think the folks from the base are saying, if you can commit some of that water to us, we'll help you find it. And once, the MWRA makes its way here, you can have the capacity back because we won't need it anymore.
Are they still, so if they're like, the coming down 18 and all that's a no-go, or?
No, the MWA,
That's the plan?
That's still a thing, yeah. And now I've met separately with the towns of Rockland, Hingham, and Hanover. We've been getting together to try and find out if there's other ways that we can tap into that MWA when it gets down here, because right now, it'll die at the base. So we would like to have that as either
Continue.
either a continuance that we can draw off of it in emergencies, or continuance that we can use it on the Route 18 corridor for new.
Because to get from there to, there to
They're
there, they
coming.
gotta go through here, correct?
No, they're coming down Route 18. They're coming through Braintree, and they'll stop at the
They'll
base.
stop at the base.
But
Okay,
we're trying to
there was
find a way to
plan
There was an
one time,
alternative, too. Yeah, there was an
Went
alternative.
in
That's-
East Bridgewater.
That's the Aquarian desal
Okay,
in Dayton. Is that where that comes from? And they've chosen not to go that route. Now,
the developer, or,
I think the state and the developer, because they have to go through, there's a lot of levels of agencies that they have to get, through, and I think that they've all decided that this was the way that they wanted to go. So, I think the state put money towards it. They recently got a grant between the three towns that, most of the infrastructure is in actually Rockland and Weymouth, to upgrade the entrance from 228 to get into the base. There's money for all the lights and the different signals that have to be changed. So there is quite a bit going on there. I don't know anything about it, who the tenants might be, or future tenants, or any of that yet. I don't know that they're quite there, but again, there's our largest opportunity for any new growth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it may be 3 years down the road, or it may be 7 years down the road. It's probably 7 years before MWRA gets there.
Yeah.
But I know that this grant that they just got from the state, which was 40-something million dollars, was a big boost to them, and that's something that they weren't expecting
Yeah.
so soon, so quick.
Yep.
So there is some support.
Yep. Hopefully that will help.
Yeah.
I do remember that the developers, when they came and met with us, were projecting 2030 before.
It's our magic year.
Before we saw anything.
Yeah.
So, and that was an estimate, so. All right, any other questions on the status of the budget and timeline? So timeline for us, first week of November. We will have, that would be November 5th.
We, probably the 12th. It's the first we can meet with the departments, and I need to confirm with
that's-
people.
around 2 months earlier than we normally start. So that does seem like a good point. I don't think we need to necessarily push to the 5th. So, unless anyone disagrees. And obviously we'll, when we know who's coming, we'll get that information out to
Yeah.
everybody. So. All right. Next item on the agenda is Scott and I on email had a brief discussion about the opioid settlement money. So there have been some people who had approached me asking about what the process was because it's changed and how the money is being distributed, who it's going to, how people can apply for that money, how people/organizations can apply for that money. So, and I know we have some people here that are interested tonight. So, Scott, if you want to give just kind of a brief history on.
Well, so overall, it's still a work in progress as far as going forward. The history, when these funds originally became available to us, the first thing we did, we put together a committee. The committee was supposed to last a year. I think we kept it a little bit longer to sort of try and weed out, when people were asking or figuring out ways that we could use these funds. And Andrew, the numbers were a couple $100,000 in, I think.
Yeah, I can put them up.
So the committee had, we had several staff members on it. We had some folks at large. We had our public health nurse. We had our director from the senior center. We actually had one of our officers on there, our veteran service agent. And the goal was just for them to sort of, meet with the folks, people who are looking for access to the funds and then make determinations. We have a list of what the uses of the abatement funds can be used for. It was given to us from the state. And there are just several things that, and I'll read them off to you. So anything that's allocated to the municipalities shall be used to implement the strategies set forth below. And so it starts off with the opioid use disorder treatment. So support and promote treatment of persons with opioid use disorder, including through programs or strategies. And there's a list of different programs and strategies. Number 2 is support people in treatment in recovery. I think that's, it's fairly self-explanatory, but then they go down with the whole subgroup of, A through L on different ways that you can use that money to support people that are in treatment in recovery. So provide comprehensive wraparound services to the individuals, provide access to housing for people with these with OUD, rehabilitate properties for low threshold and recovery housing, provide peer support, community support services, transportation, things like that. Number 3 is connections to care. Provide connections to care for people who have or are at risk of developing OUD through programs or strategies that support the work of emergency medical systems, including peer support specialists, post-overdose response teams, support school-based services related to this, such as school-based contacts that parents can engage with to seek immediate treatment services for their children. Fund services or training to encourage early identification and intervention for families. Include the fire department partnerships such as safe stations. Number 4 is harm reduction. Support efforts to prevent overdose deaths or other opioid-related harms through strategies that increase the availability of naloxone and the other overdose drugs. Provide training and education on how to use it. Approve syringe service programs, support mobile units that offer or provide referrals for harm reduction services, There's more of those. Number 5 is address the needs of the criminal justice involved persons, which is support diversion and deflection programs and strategies for criminal justice involved persons. Programs that connect individuals involved in the criminal justice system and upon release from jail or prison. Co-responder or alternative responder models, public safety public safety-led diversion strategies such as law enforcement assisted diversion model. 6 is support pregnant or parenting women and their families, including babies with neonatal abstinence syndrome. Number 7, prevent misuse of opioids and implement prevention education. And there's A through F on that. So those are sort of the buckets that if some, that we can distribute the funds for. So we will be putting together a new web page for this. In-house Alternatives will be working on it for me. It will have this information on it, and then there'll be a link that folks can reach out to me and just say, hey, we're aware that you have these funds. We'd like to use them for whatever. And if it falls into one of these categories, or even if it doesn't, I'll probably meet with the folks, discuss it with them, and then I'll put it in front of the selectmen to make the ultimate decision. But they would have to fall into one of these categories. Once the website's up and running, we'll put in there, the monies that are received will be part of it. The monies that have been expended will be on the website and where and how it has been expended.
Who would you consult with? Because my thinking is that if you don't have a lot of experience yourself, and the selectmen themselves don't have a lot of, I'm not saying they do or don't, but there should be someone with experience in opioid addiction to consult with when making those decisions.
We'll wait and see what people
They
actually
don't
ask for.
But I'm saying, so there's not like a mechanism through the
Through the
when
state? There's a lot of information on the state site, and I would
says,
imagine, so yes. They have, I mean, they do have quite a bit that I haven't
Because
availed myself of.
that's a lot of information. And then if a group were to come to you, and then you were to bring it to the selectmen, and the selectmen disagreed that that the request fell within those guidelines, that might be based on their lack of information.
Well, if it isn't that clear, I think if the situation arises, then yeah, we'll reach out and find someone at Department of Public Health or, through the state that can help guide us. I mean, like I said, where these guidelines came from, there is quite a bit of information from the state there that offers the guidance. So I think if we need technical assistance, we can probably go through them.
But the committee no longer
The
exists.
committee no longer exists now.
And we're talking 138,000 in the pool?
Right, yep.
Yeah, and every year, more comes in. It comes in from, there's
Oh, okay.
several sources where it's coming in from, and it's over the course of, I don't know, 20 years or 25 years or
What's
whatever.
the FY '25 number total, or is that partial? 'Cause it's obviously significantly down from,
Yeah, the state has a published schedule, and it tends to stick towards that. We got a lot of money in the first couple of years, and then it sort of dwindles as the later years come on.
Yeah, one of the, because there's several companies that are paying into this, and one of the companies, and it might have been Janssen or CVS or one of them, paid like the first 5 years in advance. I think we saw a big bump on the first year. But there is a schedule, and we'll post that schedule too, on that web, on when the payments come in, but some years I think
It's expected to go down, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so-
These revenues are complete for these fiscal years, and they do match what the state has published.
All right.
So, is there like an appeal process? Is that how you would bring it to the DPH?
There's no appeal process at this point. There has been no,
Okay.
we'll see what happens when folks start asking for the funds. I mean, it's not an unlimited supply of money here either, so I think if,
Have there been conversations, Abington has a very active Abington Copes group? Has there been conversations with that group?
have I had conversations with the
Has
group?
anyone had conversations?
They were, as far as I know, they met with the old committee, yes. I don't know whether,
Since the dissolution of the committee?
no, there hasn't been done, anything hasn't been done since we've dissolved the committee, no.
When was the committee dissolved?
I don't know, months ago?
Okay.
Yeah, hasn't been that long.
I don't know the reason why the committee was dissolved. I know you said it had a timetable of a year, but was that the reason, or?
There was a lot of staff on the committee, and it was taking up a lot of time of the staff.
Okay.
And it didn't seem that, they're still there. So, when you ask, if there's someone that if I needed to reach out to get support, the staff is still here. It doesn't have to be in a committee form. If I need to, get input, if it's something that's senior related or something that's veteran related, there was no reason to continue.
Okay.
Just checking to see if any of the people in attendance had wanted to ask questions or had any comments. If so, can you come up so that we probably come up to where Abby is, and Abby can turn the mic to you. Just
Melissa,
start
you can grab a chair if you
Yeah.
want, if it's easier. The
and
mic's way down
start
there.
with name and address.
Melissa Cook, 358 High Street.
Thanks,
So
Melissa.
before the last time the committee met, they dispersed 68,000, and then they were gonna open it up every 6 months. You were able to apply, that was May of 2024, so we have not been able to reapply. But I guess my question is if it could be transparent, that 148, 463, the committee only dispersed 68,000, so the committee members also don't know where roughly 80,000 went, who it went to, because they never met again to give the okay or applications or anything. So I guess we're just looking for transparency on that 80,000. And then also, since there is 138,000 sitting there, when can we apply? I know the July select board meeting, we talked about putting it on the website, but it's just sitting there, and when people are hurting, kids could use money for prevention. So I guess we're just want to know when we can apply for that.
It'll be up soon, probably within a month or so.
Andrew, do you know where the $80,000 went?
Yeah, we can go over that. We can actually go through all of them. Let's see, what is this? So these are all. let's
Can you
see,
make
one-
that bigger, Andrew?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
So these are all the expenses for the opioid settlement fund. We spent $10K on Ally Connect, which I believe is a mental health service for first responders. We've made contributions to Abington Copes, Power Forward, and Recovered Souls Foundation. Those are nonprofits, outreach groups.
That are local here in Abington?
They are not. Power Forward and Recovered Souls is not in Abington.
Abington Copes is, though.
Yes. I'm sure it is.
So why are we
Are
making,
they providing services to Abington residents?
I believe so.
okay, like a Dove, how we pay Dove yearly, it's no longer Dove, but
that-
yearly we give a nominal amount.
Which one is that? Is that
to Dove.
Arc of the South Shore or Health Imperatives?
Health imperatives.
Yep.
And because they service it's a group that's not in Abington.
But they provide
services
services
to Abington residents. So we're saying that Power Forward and Recovered Souls Foundation is providing services to Abington residents, so we donated 10,000 each.
So
And I will say, as a person who knows the work of Abington Copes, I do appreciate that the amount to Abington Copes, a local service provider, is higher than to the others, so.
So Power Forward, sorry, you said they're not from it?
No.
So how would we ever track if they ever gave money back here?
Probably really.
I know.
Could we stop doing that today then?
Well, I think
If
that
we- I'm
was,
just
I
saying if
think
we
that
could-
was a one-time
Oh, all right.
request.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, going
that we
forward,
gave
let's not,
money out.
I guess not.
And that was
I
a
think-
donation, not a fee.
And
No, that came, so they applied for money from the committee.
Right.
They came and said,
my,
we'll give money to
Yeah.
people from Abington looking for sober living scholarships. And
Yeah.
then, I don't know what happened
yeah. So,
with them and Recovered Souls.
so I would think those, like anything else where we were talking about, there will be an application process that will come to Scott, find out if it's for the appropriate uses, go to the selectmen, and determine if this is the right source or if this is the right destination for our opioid
Right.
funds.
Hard thing to track too, because you've got
It's
HIPAA violations to be, in order to find out if, and I'm not necessarily picking on Power Forward, but I'm just saying Power Forward
as an
can say, hey, we're going to give this money to help Abington residents get sober living. But we can't tell you who they are or where they went or where that sober living is or when it was because it violates
Well, the HIPAA laws
laws.
it shouldn't be violated if they can tell us it went to the town. They wouldn't have to tell us who in the town, but if it went to the town.
It doesn't go to the town, though, it goes to.
I'm saying people in the
To
town.
a resident
Sorry,
of the
a resident of the town, like we service this.
You have no way to check that.
Well, I just checked online and, I mean,
Except to take someone's word for it, correct?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
so I think we should just maybe stop doing that and work with people that are local and just so we know, like 100% that it's going there.
Just because they have an office in Abington doesn't mean they're helping people.
Oh, they
in
are.
Abington either.
Yeah, one's in Quincy, one's in.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the
Yeah.
one's based here. I'm saying just to
Yeah.
make sure that they're using it here.
What is?
And I think this is all part
Yeah,
of,
I,
and to go to Scott here.
Result.
So you mentioned you're putting together the steps of the process, and I would assume that
Yeah, but ultimately, the
That-
selectmen are gonna end up making that
ultimately,
decision.
we would be
much bigger.
making,
Striker.
making.
Oh, I'm sure we're getting there,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because
lo-
we've all got
like
questions.
confirmation of local impact part of our decision-making process.
To a certain degree, if we can, yeah,
As much
absolutely.
as possible.
So, I'm sorry, Andrew,
yeah.
we interrupted you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The next item on the list is about
Bank of
4,800 from Bank of America. That is a purchase card transaction. I'll need to dig for the detail on that one.
It's a what?
It's a purchase card transaction.
Car?
Purchase card.
Like a
Card.
So
debit
someone used the town credit card on that, so I'll have to look that one up. I don't have the information right now. And the rest of it, for striker sales and this Echo News, that is fire department equipment for opioid patients. One of them's an ultrasound, and the other one's a life support device to help for people
That have
in
overdosed.
distress. So the ultrasound will help find veins and
Okay.
So that all those striker sales were fired?
yeah, for the ambulances.
Were they?
So is
Yeah.
it like equipment for the ambulance?
Yes, one is an ultrasound, and the other one's some sort of life support device.
Okay, I didn't know if like when you said, it was like, instead of billing like the health insurance for like a treatment or for like a.
It's equipment.
Okay, thank you.
And I guess who okayed that? Because they didn't like put in an application like everyone else, I guess.
It was all approved by the committee, I don't really know. This was I don't know what the dates, it's
So I
back in
think-
January of last year.
Right, the opioid settlement committee didn't meet in January. They like never met from, their last meeting was May 2024, they never.
You're saying January of this year,
Yeah.
right?
So Melissa's saying that
There
the
was no-
committee hasn't met in
Since
a
May
year and a half at this
2024.
point, so.
Yeah. So I guess I was just curious who approved.
I guess probably the public health nurse, she was running the committee.
Okay. Be good to follow up on.
You don't seem too happy about that. Why?
Oh, me?
No, no,
Oh.
sorry, Scott.
Well,
I just don't, I don't understand the whole dynamic of
I prefer
everything.
that the committee had volunteered.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, so,
Kind of surprised that they didn't, but I do understand that the use of it,
yeah.
My question is,
The
would-
use and the equipment makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
That it's-
process and approval that,
And
Yes.
transparency.
yeah,
Right.
is question.
Obviously, family members who have lost ones, they want to see. So I feel like I'm speaking as a
Yes.
family member myself and for other family members. I'm the one up here and asking
Yes.
because they want to see the transparency, so.
Yep,
As you should.
and
Now,
we do appreciate you.
Question
Thank you.
is, what?
And the work you
isn't-
do.
Because there isn't space on the fire department budget, so this stuff went to this budget, like when this, I'm just curious. Wouldn't fire department equipment be in the fire budget, but there just isn't money?
Correct.
Okay.
I would
Oh,
think, I
sorry,
would think
Scott.
that, you know, like
well,
when,
I think it was
departments of-
specialty equipment that they
Okay, yeah.
normally wouldn't have.
But if you know that there's a grant out there, or that there's money, like when schools are applying for grants for, I don't know, give me something.
Textbooks.
Textbooks.
Curriculum.
And there may be a grant available that, you know, they wouldn't have to, they might not have the money for those particular textbooks.
Like a
maybe
STEM,
another-
like a STEM grant.
Right.
Yeah, another fire department example that I can remember from a few years ago was for radios for communication, like two-way radios. There was a grant, it wasn't something that was in the budget, but they were able to replace all of the equipment because there was a grant available that they were able to get, so,
But it does come out to like $80,000.
yeah.
Well, and if there's currently no mechanism for families to apply for things, I certainly understand the questions about the number is decreasing, but it's not decreasing because of
chaos.
family applications and
Yeah.
disbursements
Yes.
like that, so it makes sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
Yep. I think transparency is important and
Definitely.
definitely using the money to the best we can to town and local services is, I think, definitely a good use and a priority, so.
Is this money, is it use it, lose it, or does it carry into next year?
It carries.
Carries.
So are we going to have another committee in order to, it'll just go through the selectmen?
It'll start with my office and then end up with the selectmen. And again, if there's plenty of resources, if I think that there's something that doesn't make sense, but, Abington Copes is always welcome to submit, and if they, certainly if they want to send me an email now, and let me know what they would like and what they want to use the funds for, there's no reason that I can't start looking at them now.
I'm trying to find the year, but they took in $19,106. I'm just trying, I can't find the year. Abington Copes? For a year. I don't know what year, it's not telling me what year it is, but we're gonna give them 19 grand, right?
We had 27 on
The problem is, in that total revenue year, so this is the problem with nonprofits. Not saying Abington Copes is bad, I don't know anything about them, but just
They are not.
19.
I will say that.
They took in revenue of 19,106 and they gave 1,313. So like, that's really not a good number. Ratio?
Depends on what count is giving.
I don't know.
If they're providing services.
That's one of the issues with nonprofits, though. There's things in there that they can do. So I don't know, if we can try, or if you know people, try as hard as possible to stick with the people that are the most trustworthy. Because this entire industry is rife with bad actors. You know, and I don't mean the people, I don't mean people on the end of, that we're talking about, I mean people on the other end.
Starting with the people pushing the opioids.
Right, so that's what I mean, there's a lot of different directions, so.
So,
I know this is looking really far forward, but is it something that could go back to a committee if once everything's ironed out? Like, and I know we're having issues filling a committee, but
I don't think that, I really don't think it's that necessary. I think, I think that the selectmen can handle it. The money as it's coming in, it's not huge amounts coming in every year. I think once we get a handle on it, certainly I think that Abington Copes and some of the other ones that we see more often will find it a lot easier to deal with than to try and deal with a committee when you have, no offense, but 7 or 8 people that you have to try and meet with and deal with and answer questions when, in fact, if you can meet some of these simple requirements, you should be able to get the funds. And I think that's my goal here, is to just sort of
simplify
make it a little, make
I'd
it
like-
easier.
I will say to Floyd's question, sorry, Barbara, I think as we get this rolling, if we see that it's not working,
Yeah.
we could probably look to have a committee reformed. But if it is working, that would be,
So there's no benefit to us to sit on the money. There's no intention to sit on the money. I think the idea here is just to make it easier, quicker. And again, we, want to put everything on a webpage to make it transparent for everybody to see it and make it as seamless as possible. So you can always go back and, to put a committee together, but it's certainly would be a much different committee, I think, than the one that we had.
I think it would be wise, just a suggestion, to have someone, when you and the selectmen are going over applications and things like that, to have someone from the group that you have already in place in town that has a good reputation, because I feel like someone that is dealing with it in their everyday life and might have more information than what you and the selectmen may have about the different organizations that may be on the up and up, and the different organizations that may be not as,
Ultimately, when the decisions are made, they will be at a public meeting with the selectmen, so Abington Copes will be aware of it and can come, or whoever the applicant is can come, and if there's any question, we certainly will be able to reach out. I don't think there's anybody, whether it's on that board, on this board, or myself, that hasn't been affected, doesn't have a profound effect from somebody in their family.
no, I don't.
So I don't think there's
I just
anybody who-
meant that they
Doesn't, in each, and, again.
have more information.
Each, I think, request is going to be different.
Individual.
And will require different, it may require different perspectives. So I really just think we have to wait and see what comes in, what the requests are. Like you say, I mean, certainly, I think everybody will probably prefer to keep it local, and keep it within organizations that we know and that we know will get the most impact and people in the community. So but I think you're right. I mean, if something comes in, if it doesn't, if we don't feel as though we have the ability to decipher it or figure it out, we certainly know that there's definitely resources here for all of us.
so the person reach out to you, and then you meet with them, and then you bring their case to the select board, and then they decide if, yes, the funds meet the criteria, or the request meets the criteria. Okay.
Yep, and then Andrew will
and
write a check.
And so is that like it's like an open meeting where there's public comment?
It'll be on the
and,
agenda.
It would be on the
Public
agenda.
It'll be on the selectmen agenda. It'll be, and my hope, and, I think ultimately the goal would be there'd be certain, whether it's once a quarter or whatever, that we would depending on the funds, the availability of funds, that we would say, you know, just so there will be some sort of routine to it. It'll be, you know, the 1st of January.
That you know that
Yeah,
at that meeting.
They're going to bring it up if
This is going
somebody
to be
asks. for it.
discussed each month on this particular, okay.
Oh, that's somebody else.
You have those?
How you doing?
Hi.
Nicole Emery, 197 Jean Carroll Road. Hey, Scott. Not the other Nicole Emery. My question is, with this opioid settlement, these funds, these people are like desperate and need these funds quickly. So it sounds like this process is like drawn out like months. How do we make the process quicker for these people that need these funds quicker? I mean, when you have an addict in your life, they need recovery, like they need support, they need all that stuff fast. And the funds, obviously, it sounds like it's like they apply with you or with the town, and then it's gonna go before the select board, and then they have to decide, yes, this is going out or it's not going out. Then when do the funds get dispersed? You could be looking at a month,
Yeah,
and this person could be, you know, dead at that point. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to have a little bit more urgency in the process to get these funds out.
I don't see how, I mean, they have to, I mean, somebody has to, that's the whole point of even the committee wasn't meeting that often. The committee would only meet once a month, and with all those, the folks that were on the committee, it's hard to get them together and make
Yeah.
sure they had a forum to meet. So, yeah, we have the ability to do this on a monthly basis if we had to. I mean, I don't know how fast and furious the requests will come in, and that'll sort of dictate it, but certainly if something came in and had some urgency to it, I could put it on any agenda of the selectmen.
Is there a way to get Abington Copes more involved with the financial piece of it, where they have the ability to be able to turn funds quicker to people that come in for requests?
They can ask for the funds.
They
They can apply for the funds, just like anybody, tell us what they're gonna use the funds for.
And then they can hold it and then disperse quicker than
Probably.
it would happen in here. Okay, that was just my question.
And my
Yeah, they-
hope is that the requests to this fund are not like tomorrow emergency use. So-
Sure.
Well,
I would say, I don't
And
know.
there are definitely times where it may be, but hopefully
Yeah.
hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's
well, but I think it's plan for the worst, hope
fun-
for the best.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, when we're talking about some of the things you read off, like housing,
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah.
mental health support, like
Yeah.
connection to services. I mean, yeah, those things are
Pretty.
sometimes urgent.
Yes.
So, I mean, is there an
But these funds aren't going to individuals.
I thought they
But they eventually will end up with the.
Yes, but through
But this isn't
an
like an
organization.
emergency
Sorry.
fund where an
to
individual's gonna walk in.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah.
And it's just not set up that way. I don't think it was meant to be set up that way.
interrupt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's unclear. I think it's just not clear, you know?
Oh,
So
I-
if it's
Oh, I
not meant
thought-
for individuals, I guess we'll see when the website's set up how it, I don't know anybody that really would know about this. Yeah, unless they went to Abington Copes and.
Right.
Abington
Yeah.
Copes with that.
But I think that's what the
Yeah.
point of this is to fund organizations like Abington Groups, or the other ones that can rapidly respond or people are more
Sure.
aware of.
Okay, all right, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's,
So I guess I am confused. So the criteria that's on the paper from the state, that is for the company, for like Abington Copes? And then they
That's for
follow
us.
that?
That is for us. That's how we decide.
Okay,
We,
so,
we can only use the funds as long as they fall into, and there's a lot of categories, and they're
Yeah.
pretty broad. So as
Yeah.
long as if Abington Copes asks me for the funds and they say, you know, we want to use this to put some people into treatment. This
Yeah.
is the treatment centers that we use, and this is what it costs, and this will take care of X amount of people.
okay, right.
Then-
But can also individuals come to the town? Or are we really looking for organizations?
I think it's more organization-based
Okay.
and big picture-based.
I
This
thought
isn't-
it could
because
be,
you
Okay.
but
Yeah.
is there anything that, is that just, sorry, and this is all new to me, is that,
I don't think there's anything preventing.
okay, so that's
You're
like,
saying?
is that a town management decision,
I
or is that
think-
just the way it's
I
structured?
think that's what the point of this is. I don't believe, and in fact, when they even encourage us to regionalize with this and try and pool these monies for bigger services. So I don't think that the idea of this was ever set up that, for just any individual to come in and say,
Which makes sense, but that does open potentially the door for like a preferred partnership of like, if we have a trustworthy organization like Abington Copes. Again, I don't know anything about Abington Copes, so this isn't a statement on them, but like, if there is sort of that established trust, could there be some way to fast track when they come with sort of a more urgent request that, that partnership is there, so.
well, then my recommendation would be that company would come and request the money in advance for that purpose.
Yeah, so it's basically just like a
So
business
they
coming
would
in.
be-
They obviously, this is gonna sound terrible, they have to plan, like a business would plan. Again, this sounds bad, but, and so that's how they would come in and ask for the money. If they were to come in and ask for whenever there was like real big spikes or bigger problems, they're gonna be behind the ball. Whether or not that happens with these folks, I have no idea, but that would be. a
Similar
tough way
to like,
start.
if they, like, say it was Abington Copes that applied, they would say, we know that, we will, in the next, whatever period of time, through looking at the trends in the community, that we'll have, 3 people that will, need some type of inpatient treatment that will not be covered by their insurance, or will need a resource
Yeah.
for a living arrangement or halfway house, or that needs some type of funding. And we know through, going through all of this, that costs X amount of dollars. So they would say, we're anticipating.
Right, so
and
it's
then-
sitting with them then, rather than sitting
Yes.
in the town's
And they're
bank account
probably-
that takes a
and-
month. And then we could publicize
And
and
the hope,
socialize that we have that partnership.
and I think to the question about individuals requesting the money, I think it is far more likely that an individual would go to an organization like Abington Copes for help than showing up at town hall and
Yeah.
saying, hey, I heard something about opioid settlement money.
Yeah.
So,
I think the longer
I think-
time in between makes more sense too, and it's an organization.
yeah.
Yeah, and
But
I
I do-
also I'd be wary of partnering with just one organization and just one type of, but that's getting.
I wouldn't
into-
classify any of it as partnering at all. I
Right,
think it
yeah.
will be providing the funds.
Yeah,
And we'll certainly put the
Providing the
information out
funds.
there.
yeah,
that
To be used
No
for
offense.
what they are intended for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean it offensive either,
No.
but it wouldn't be a partnership.
Yeah.
But it would be something that again, on our website would say,
Yeah,
here are some
and-
organizations that we have funded. If you have some issues, please reach out
And to the
them.
point with the other 2 organizations that we talked about earlier, Barbara mentioned Health Imperatives, and we mentioned ARC, the ARC, South Shore. We provide them money because they are available to provide services for Abington residents. We don't actually know if they're providing services to Abington residents with the money that we give them. We know that they offer those services to Abington residents. Ultimate hope, I think, in both of those situations is that no Abington residents need those services. However, knowing that this is not utopia, there's probably that, and we hope that what we're providing is used towards Abington residents, but it's not something we go and check up with them on. So I think this is similar in that regard. But like we said at the start, trying to use it as effectively as possible is
The goal.
the goal. So, thank you all. That was a very good conversation on this. So, next item is liaison assignments. We have 2 liaison assignments, one primary and one secondary, that need to be reassigned. As Sean had to step away from the committee. Primary assignment for IT and a secondary assignment for golf.
I'll take the secondary for golf if nobody else wants it.
I'll do IT.
It's not a heavy lift.
No,
Thank you both. I appreciate it. And that brings us to.
Did you send out?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I'm still behind on that, and that
I
is
just wanted to make sure I didn't miss an
100%
email.
my fault. I will get that out.
I
It's
get a lot of.
it's on my list. My workload right now is crazy. We're changed to review everybody all at the same time, and so I'm doing reviews for all of the people that report directly to me and reviewing reviews for all the people that report to them.
A lot of reviewing.
That's
It's a lot all at once. So, and we have other stupid things going on.
Plus the regular stuff.
Recorded meeting.
I know, that word was not
It might show
chosen.
up at your next.
Word was not, there are people who work at my company who also live in Abington, so I know that the possibility that that may be heard is not zero, so, and I said it anyway. Next item, are there any liaison reports? Okay. Correspondence, we have, holding this up for the camera. There we go. The town of Abington is providing an open meeting law training right here in the Cotter Room in Town Hall. It is open to all current and aspiring board and committee members. It will be Monday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. It will be presented by Clifford and Kenny LLP. And all are welcomed and encouraged to attend. And it mentions aspiring committee members. I will make
Like
a
aspiring finance committee members?
super subtle plug that there are 2 openings on the finance committee. Please reach out to town moderator Sean Riley or to myself. If you are interested, we would love to have you. Review of minutes. We were sent out a set of minutes. Let me flip back over to that. So we have the July 14th minutes and the September 24th minutes. July 14th. Everybody who is here now was here for that meeting. Not see anything that I felt needed adjustment.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of July 14th, 2025.
I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes from July 14th?
No.
Without any, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you. And then we have the meeting minutes from September 24th. Emily was not here for that meeting?
I feel like you were on
Oh,
Zoom.
you were on Zoom.
The
So that's-
September 24th?
Yeah, you were on Zoom
My
for
name
that.
is, my name is unexcused, yes.
Yeah,
I
you
did
were,
join
you were,
Zoom.
you were Zoomed
We
on that.
we figured
Yes,
out.
we did end up
Zoom.
figuring it
Yeah,
out.
it took a while, it took a while. Took a little bit to get that
Something that'd be
going.
hard to forget.
Yeah.
So,
I remember it.
so we will start with a motion and then go to discussion.
Okay, motion to approve the meeting minutes of September 24th with the
Adjustment.
adjustment of Emily being present.
Is there a second?
Definitely, I'll second that.
Seconded by Greg. Any further discussion on the September 24th meeting minutes? Long minutes on this one.
Oh, I see another issue.
Okay.
It says that I said that Pembroke might join the Ultra Votech, and I definitely didn't
That's where I heard it from. Spreading it around to all the town managers.
Scott. So, do we want to just get them,
I'm guessing I'm on the side.
give them a
I'm
chance to
gonna
get them, or do
say-
you want me to make an amendment to my motion?
I think amend the motion.
Amend my motion to reflect the changes discussed.
We can say that it was discussed, and we don't need to say who shared that Pembroke may have joined unless Kelly wants to go back and look and prove Abby wrong that she was the one who suggested. So, amending the motion.
I'm amending my motion.
Is there an amended second? Greg seconds the amended motion. Anything else on the minutes for September 24th? Without anything, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, abstaining, it is unanimous. The minutes are approved. Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry. I was looking through the minutes. I was like, oh, the advisory committee, we're still waiting for that to.
Okay, so I did, actually, I meant to give you guys the update on that. I did get from the school committee last week, I did get their members, so now we have a full list of membership. So, we have Emily and Abby, Peter Walter, Sarah Poole, former member, right?
Yep, both
Melanie
both
Whitney.
former members.
Right. Melanie Whitney and Pam Neely from the school committee, Paul Bunker from the select board, and that's it from the select board. So I will send something out probably Friday, let everybody know, and do a doodle poll and see when I can have the first meeting. So that'll be the members, and then obviously the staff will be myself and Andrew and Felicia and Sarah. And who else? Lindsay, you probably pop in when we need her. And anybody else is welcome to attend
All right.
and encouraged.
Well, I mean, if you're serving chocolate.
I'll always have chocolate. If you prefer Dove, I can get there.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you who brings the chocolate? I assumed it was Matt.
Oh, it's not me.
Yeah.
Nope.
We have little cobblers who show up. Their lights are out.
Little elves.
Little elves.
Chocolate elves.
Right. Before anybody makes the motion to adjourn or anything, I did forget to tell you, Strawberry Valley Golf Course is holding their Abington Golf Day.
Appreciation. yeah.
Appreciation Day will be Sunday, and they're having a ribbon cutting ceremony because of the 20 acres that Larry Trufant donated to the town.
Nice, nice.
So they're going to recognize him again, and very deservedly so. Thank him for it. I think they're going to set some memorial plaques, but all are invited. So it is this Sunday. You get a free round of golf. It's like 8 to noon. Apparently you have to walk it, but I don't think it's.
I saw something about, also on there about donuts and drinks.
Yeah, they always have I think they even had some handouts to the first few people that show up, so.
Great.
Nice.
Wanted to make
Excellent.
sure everybody knew.
Hopefully Mother Nature will.
I know, I don't know what.
Cooperate.
Supposed to be 70 degrees.
Nice.
Nice.
All right.
To God's ears.
That is the end of our items on our agenda. We did already discuss our next meeting will be November 12th. We will have department heads here to start that process. We don't know who yet, but we will find out.
And does everybody will have access to? the
Yeah,
budget
I'll
book?
deploy it tomorrow.
Oh,
And then that
thank you.
schedule eventually ends up on the budget book as long as as well as your assignments, your liaison assignments, so. If anybody wants to join, just give us a heads up if you want to join by Zoom to any of the meetings too.
Any other items?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to
I'll
adjourn
second.
and a second. Any discussion? Without any, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Abstaining? We are adjourned. Thank you very much for all of your time tonight.